Well, welcome to the San Diego Argonauts February Sail Points races. This is the Soling 50 class model sailboat. We're going to have 3 races. This is going to be the first of our 3 races. We have about 30 seconds, maybe a touch more until the start. Wind's about 6 knots. It's been up and down during the day. Not much more than 6 knots at any time. It's gotten a little lighter on occasion. A few shifts from the right, so that is starboard tack lifts. Few, not too many from the port lifts. That is a fair starting line, and we're looking right down the line between those two, between the 2 buoys. That's our start line. 15 seconds until the start. I'm the red boat, kind of in the center there, number 81.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Oh, this is interesting. I realized that there was a big crowd at the start, and so what I did is I just went to weather the wrong side of the line, but we don't have code flag I flying, the code flag India, or the so we can do dip starts. So that's what I did. I went on the wrong side of the line, and then I think I was over at the start, but there was a hole I was headed for, and I dipped down into it. So now I'm cleared, and I start correctly. So I'm in good shape.
Go when you want to go, Kim.
I'm just hailing the
Nice
boat down
whip.
to leeward of me. That when he wanted to tack, just let me know, because that's shallow water. You can see on the down on the ground there. Okay, so I'm working out on starboard. I got some clear air. I got some nice air here. Heading up just a little bit of a starboard tack lift with some good air. I like that not only that I have clear air, of course, but I can tack off onto port if I wanted to. If I got a nice header, I would do that. Looks like the wind's getting a little bit light. Boats are standing up. I've got a nice starboard tack lift there. Look at that boat heeled over. You can see it accelerate. You see me go faster than some of the boats back behind me. Using those for a reference, you can see the acceleration. I need to get over on the port here pretty soon to get to the line. And there's a boat just ahead of me that's on port, and I wanted to go up and make sure he was going to be behind me at the weather mark. Not going to be giving me any trouble or being inside when we got to the mark. Wind's got a little bit light here. I've got my sails cracked out. I think you can see my booms out a little bit, but that gives me some nice speed in this lighter air. I like the Soling 50. It's my favorite boat. It's fairly maneuverable, not as heavy as the Santa Barbara, but it's a good sized boat. It's a very responsive boat. So I got off to a good start with my dip start, had clear air, sailed on the lifts, and I got to the weather mark in pretty good shape. We've got 8 boats in the race today, and I got around the mark in first place, and then we went to the offset mark, so now we're headed downwind. A lot of race left, but I'm in pretty good shape. This is, I always say, get a good clear air start, sail on the lifts, get to the weather mark in good shape, the rest of the race takes care of itself. And I think that's generally true. So we're just kind of struggling going downwind in some pretty light air. There's some holes out there. I don't know how you avoid the holes. I look at the wind and I look at the water and I try to do what I can, but I'm not sure there's any magic to staying out of the holes. Okay, there we go. That's race number 1. Pretty happy with that. And we'll break off here and we're going to go catch race number 2. Okay, here we are with about 40 seconds until race number 2, the start of race number 2. We're looking right down that start line. See the 2 buoys on the left side of the screen. I'm in a red Soling 50, now in the center of your picture, working down on port. Wind still up and down, pretty much coming down the pond. That's a westerly breeze, 6 knots or so. About 10 seconds until the start. trying to lag back a little bit because there's a lot of boats right at that pin. I'm going to come in right behind them so I'll be able to have clear air and tack off. So I'm a little bit late in doing that. I could have been a little bit closer. But right now I'm in good shape on the fleet. I have clear air. I could tack over to port if I wanted to, if I had a nice header. The boats are staying on starboard ahead of me. They've got pretty good air. They're heeled over, so I'm pretty happy with that. Not gonna bail out of that one. No need to bail out from that. There's a nice starboard tack lift. See, I'm sailing higher now, still with good speed. It's kind of going away, getting light. Boat's standing up a little bit. That's the way the day has been wind-wise. The wind's just been up and down. A few starboard tack lifts. So I'm okay on the rest of the fleet. Not great. And I've just tacked over to port. Probably had a header there because I have a nice lift on port now. And good air. There's good heel on the boat. Again, my boat with the red stripe on the jib, which I do with all my boats. I'm going to get into a little bit of shallow water over here. Well, it didn't get very shallow. I must have hit a header. Back on starboard. I'm looking for some air. Boat's moving okay. There's some nice heel. There's good heel. 16-16 ahead of me there. That's Filippo. Filippo's a multi-time national champion in the Sail 50. Very good sailor. If I'm close to him, I know things are in pretty good shape. Let's see, what's going on? Well, the wind gets a little bit light. He tacked over to port. I'm going to go up just enough to make sure I'm clear ahead of a boat that's coming in on port. I want to be clear ahead of him. So I have rights at the mark. And I tack over. You see how light that air is. This is a broad reach and we're just moving along a little bit, very slowly. So I was a little late at the start, but it worked out okay. Had some nice air, had clear air. Got a couple of shifts, sailed on the lifts. Watching the telltales. When I have that clear air, I want to just make sure my sails are trimmed correctly. That's why we practice during the week. Make sure our boats go as fast as everybody else's boat. Learn how to trim them. How do those sails want to get trimmed? Make sure the boat's balanced right. And now we're just struggling going downwind. This was pretty painful the entire day. I sailed 3 classes of boats, and going downwind was always a challenge. It got light. It got non-existent for a while. Now, Filippo's kind of sailed out of the picture here on the left-hand side. I'm hoping it's going to fill from the right a little bit. It jibed over onto port. Guess I didn't think it was going to fill. And we're struggling to go downwind. So my coverage, what I like to talk about is the start, first weather leg. If you're in good position at the weather mark, I think the rest of the race takes care of itself. So I think I've covered what I wanted to cover here. So we'll break off right now, and we'll go catch the start of race number 3. Okay, here we are for race number 3. Last race for the Sail 50, and the last race of the day for the Argonauts. As a matter of fact, this is the 4th class that's gone off. About 30 seconds until the start, I think. Wind's held out of the west. A few shifts. It's gotten a little light. It's 6 knots more or less. That's my boat in the foreground right there, number 81, tacking in the sun. I'm just maneuvering around. I like maneuvering on the weather side of the start line. Air's a little clear. It makes it a little bit more challenging because you can get a lot of traffic over there and you don't want to be barging. 5 seconds till the start. I'm close hauled. I'm at speed. And I'm in pretty good shape. Oh, there's some nice heel. So there's some good air there. See how far the boat's heeling over? As I've commented before, I like being able to tack onto port if I want to, and I'm free to do that in this position. I generally like starting at the pin or near the pin if I can do that. Sometimes there's a big crowd and that's just not the place to be, and I'll go down the line a little bit, find a hole down there. I'm staying on starboard. There's most of the boats staying on starboard. I'm looking pretty good on the fleet. I like the lift. That's a good lift on starboard. So I'm probably going to stay with that unless it collapses. So I'm watching the telltales on my jib right now. I've got enough heel that I probably got my sails in all the way. And I'm looking for any sign that wind wants to either get light or I want to tack. There we go. I tacked over. So I may have just gotten far enough on the far side of the pond to say it's time to get back to this side. Or I may have found a header. I can't tell from this point. But I'm watching the telltales on my jib. That's my clue as to what's going on working the weather. Wind is getting squirrely here. Look at the boat just standing up. I think I felt it on the back of my neck about that time, so I said, well, the wind's going to come from the right. So I tacked over, and indeed, yep, now I'm headed. Look at the sails just flop, flop, flop. So I'm kind of shooting the mark. And 711, the black boat, he shot the mark as well. He did just fine. That boat, the Soling, will carry a little bit. When the wind gets light, nothing to slow it down, it'll carry a little bit. So I was able to get around the mark okay. Got a little bit of distance in front of the boats behind me, so I don't have to worry about them being on my air going downwind. And I'm after, I think that's Filippo in the front, and I'm after him. Reasonably good air right now. The boats are moving along pretty well. It did get, we did have some pretty light spots going downwind. So, to summarize my usual philosophy, which you may have heard before, but be on the line with clear air, be moving at the start. When you get the boat moving, sail on the lifts. If you do that, you will get to the weather mark in pretty good shape. If you're in good shape at the weather mark, the rest of the race, if you can do all the things to get you in good shape at the weather mark, the rest of the race will take care of itself. So, not to oversimplify it, but to me, it's all about the start and that first weather leg. That's where you want to, if you're trying to improve your sailing skills, that's the part you want to work on. Start with a good start. If you do that, and you sail on the lifts, you will be in good shape.
How do you do that, Kim?
You will be in good shape at the weather mark. And anything can happen, but the odds will be much stacked in your favor. Okay, so the Soling 50 Nationals this year, 2012, will be at the pond here in August during race week. Not sure what the exact dates are going to be. I do know they're in August, so we'll have a couple of days of racing for the Nationals. So if you're watching this video, you've got a Soling 50, you're going to be coming. You get a little idea of what our pond's like, what our normal courses are, what kind of conditions. Not sure what kind of conditions you can expect, because our weather can always change. This is a little light today, but this is at least give you an idea of what's going on here. So hope you learned a few things. Hope you enjoyed it. I certainly picked up a few pointers, things I need to improve on. And we'll see you next month at Sail Points in March. Take care.